Hi everyone. Do you know many developers face different challenges to implement .NET Interoperability in their applications, especially when integrating or utilizing Microsoft Office features in their applications? And that is normal. Absolutely, it's normal. Why? Because it has happened to many in the past. In this tutorial, I'll be talking about what is .NET Interoperability. And after watching this tutorial, you will be able to understand what is .NET Interoperability. I will give you an overview and describe methods to enable interoperability and also the difference between managed code and unmanaged code. You will be able to understand common problems in WPF applications, web applications, and cross-platform applications. In our solutions, I will show you how you can implement best practices and out-of-box solution to create WPF applications, how to integrate and implement interoperability in Microsoft Office Excel. Also, you'll be able to run the application and test the application. By the end of this training, you will also have more resources to check your knowledge, and I'll give you summary and more information about .NET Interoperability and other programming languages, then give you more links from Microsoft document library and my GitHub sample codes that you can utilize. So, welcome to my high-tech studio. My name is Shinosala. For updates and many other feature release, you can like, subscribe, and click notification button below. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, GitHub, LinkedIn, and Microsoft Learn, and you can see the handle as it's written on the screen. Notice something before we begin. What is .NET Interoperability? .NET Interoperability is a provision in .NET codes and in the base class libraries that allow you to wrap up an unmanaged library and call into it. The reason is because Common Language Runtime (CLR) allows passing the boundaries between managed and unmanaged codes. Interoperability is just interop for short, or unmanaged code interoperability. I mentioned managed and unmanaged code. So those are the types of code in this context. Managed code is a code that runs under the control of the Common Language Runtime (CLR). Example of managed code are Mono, .NET Framework, or .NET Core, or .NET 5 and above. So simply means code whose execution is managed by runtime, regardless of their implementations, is referred to as a managed code, because CLR is in charge of taking the managed code, compiling it into a machine code, and then executing it. On top of that, runtime provides several important services such as automatic memory management, security boundaries, type safety, and many more. But managed code is written in one of the high-level language that can be run on top of .NET, such as C#, Visual Basic, F#, and others. Now, code that runs outside the CLR is called unmanaged code. Example of unmanaged code are COM, COM+, C, C++ components, ActiveX components, and Microsoft Windows API. In the unmanaged world, or in the unmanaged code environment, the programmer is in charge of pretty much of everything. Simply means that the programmer have to add everything from beginning to the end all by themselves. Interoperability enables you to preserve and take advantages of existing investments in unmanaged code, and .NET enables interoperability with unmanaged code through platform-invoked services. Include the system.runtime.interop services, which is a namespace, C++ interoperability, and COM interoperability, which is COM Interop. Now, let's look into some challenges developers are having utilizing interoperability to call external applications and using some features in their own applications. Though there are many different problems, but I will be talking about those that are related to Microsoft Office. Programmatically open Excel file in .NET 6. This guy is using .NET 6 version and want to open the Excel file with microsoft.office.interop.excel, and is trying to call the constructor of the C# class, which invoke an exception error of system.io.filenotfoundexception. He has done everything right and asking if he can use another library. This error might be a kind of overlook or misconfigurations, or is using a wrong library. So in the solution, I will show you how you can do this. This another problem. Set Excel column with using interop.excel in .NET 6. These guys have an old application that has been updated and asking how to set an Excel column with in .NET 6 using Microsoft Excel System.0 Object Library. Yeah, we are going to cover that in the solution, and I will show you how you can format the column and how you can set the column into autofill in the provided solution. This is another challenge. Interop C#.NET 6.0 Excel system.io.filenotfoundexception could not load. This is similar to the first problem to open Excel applications. You can read through that. We are going to see that in the solution and how you can utilize interoperability to open Excel application. Here is another question. Visual Studio 2019 Community Excel Interop in Microsoft 365. Okay, this guy is having system.invalidCast exception while opening Excel applications. I will cover this in the solution provided how you can handle those exceptions. This is another question, and then this guy tried to install the PIA and he cannot find the Microsoft.office.interop in the Visual Studio. And this guy tried to install the PIA, and unfortunately that hadn't changed anything. So, I can imagine how that is highly frustrating when you are working to get something done and it doesn't really know what the problem is. I'll show you in the solution how to find appropriate Office.interop references for Outlook and any other Microsoft Office applications in our solution. As I said earlier, there are many challenges out there, but I can't list enough right here. But most of them are similar, either opening Microsoft Office or trying to add the features, modify the outcome, or modify the output in different type of Microsoft Offices they are working with. Okay, you can use Google to search to find similar challenges and solutions. You can search for interoperability C# or Microsoft.office.interop on Google. And because of time, you can find more on Stack Overflow or Microsoft Learn. And if you would like to ask questions or you have similar experience and this tutorial could not solve your challenges, you can post your question on Microsoft Q&A. You can use the link to ask a question on Microsoft Q&A, and experts will be able to attend to you and give you appropriate answer. Now that you know where to log your question, let's move forward to solution. At this point, let's solve most common problem that we have discussed, and we have two exercises. The first exercise is programmatically open Office file in .NET 6. I will use C# programming language because C# is one language that allows you to use unmanaged code constructs, such as pointers directly in code by utilizing what is known as unsafe context. which designated a piece of code for which the execution is not managed by the CLI. And Microsoft Visual Studio offers features in C#. In this exercise, I will create an application, integrate and implement interoperability. I will run the application and test the applications so that you can do the same. And after completing this exercise, you will be able to create a WPF applications, integrate and implement interoperability. You'll be able to run and test the application. The basic prerequisites that you will need is that you must have Microsoft Visual Studio of any versions for our development environment. And you must have Microsoft Office Suite or Microsoft Office Excel and Microsoft Officeword installed on your computer to complete this walkthrough. Exercise 2. Integrate and implement interoperability for Office file in .NET. It will be a continuation from exercise 1. And after completing this exercise, you will be able to create an Excel add-in. You'll be able to integrate and implement interoperability features like column and width logic and input data into Excel workbook. Then we'll run the application and test the application. Also, we'll be able to add features into Microsoft Office Word right from the same application. The prerequisite for this exercise is the same as the previous exercise. So, let's dive in. Now, for exercise 1, we need to create an application, and to do that, you must have opened your Visual Studio. You can come to File, you click on File tab and click on New. To create a new project, you click on Project. Here we go. We look for WPF. You can search for that right here to make it faster. And you can observe this WPF application. You can see under the language, select C# or platform, office, or anything can be right here. Alright. So if you are building for .NET MAUI, you can select that and then or select any options that are preferable to you. Okay. So notice something here, we have different WPF applications and their languages. So notice that I select C# and click Next. Let's call this WPFX. Alright, and click Next. Choose the latest .NET version that you might see, but preferable, I will choose .NET 6.0 long-term support. And based on the program that we have seen so far, most of them are .NET 6.0 environment. So let's do that and click Create. Once you've done that, you'll see that we have our two main windows right here. We have main windows that is .xami and then we have .cs. So two of them, you can click each one of them and observe what is there. We need this system.collections.generic. Alright. So and we can see the apps that we created, which is WPFX, and then we can see this code, which is initialized component. Alright. The next thing to do right now, before you go further, is to add the references and the COM library. Okay, you can do that right from the dependency. You can expand it and see what is in framework. You can see what we have right here. Okay, you can right click the dependency right here and then to add COM reference. Okay, and that's one way. You can click on Manage Nugget Package to be able to install it. Alright, I will show you how to do that one, but let's add it first from Add COM reference. In this Add COM reference, this is where you have all these interoperabilities under the COM. Alright, you can go to type library, project, etc. But try to follow this procedure, it will be easier for you. And what you need to search for, if you are working on Excel, for example, just come to this place and type Excel. It will be easier for you to bring only the Excel interoperability functions or class library that you want to use for you right there. You can see Microsoft Excel 16.0 object library right here. Add only this one for now and click OK. It's added to this. And then we can expand it again, and you will see that com is being added to this function. Okay, if you need more, like Microsoft Office, search for the Microsoft Office Word, you can choose that. Don't just choose for Microsoft Office, but if you need generic Microsoft Office, you can type Office and then choose each one of them. For example, you can look carefully and scroll down right here under Microsoft. You can pick the specific one you want, Microsoft Development Environment, all right, and then Microsoft Office Library. You can see Microsoft Office Object Library, and then you can see for each of the Microsoft Office suites that you want to utilize. For Outlook, this is for Outlook. For OneNote, all right, you can choose the latest version of anyone that you want. And then if you scroll up, if you need more, you can scroll down gently. You'll be able to find more Microsoft Office suite right there. Okay, so that is one thing that you need to know how to do. And to sum up for us that want to install them through NuGet, you can as well come to Tools, Get Tools and Features. We help you to be able to install all these features from the beginning. In case you don't find all those Office features, you can come to your Visual Studio installer environment and then ensure that this Office/SharePoint development is checked. If it's not, click it to check it and click install while downloading, and then you can click on install while downloading or download and then install it, and then it will install those features for you. Okay, and if everything is fine, there's no need to click anyone right there. Okay, if you want to install that through NuGet, you can right click dependency and then click manage NuGet package, and right there you can click browse. When you click browse, you can search for Microsoft Interop of any kind that you are looking for. If it's for Microsoft Word, you can look for that and you'll be able to see exact word Microsoft Office.interop. This is generic, but you can see for Office Interop Microsoft Office 2016. That is for generic Office, but ensure that you had each one of them one after the other. If it's Microsoft Word, you can scroll down here, you will see Office Word, and you will see Interop Word. So there are many of them, so you can choose. Example, you can choose this. This will be better by Microsoft, alright, so that you can get the support and update at any point in time. So you can use Microsoft.office.interop.word by Microsoft. Okay, so you can also search for more. If you are looking for Excel, choose them, then click on this download and it will download, or you click on install to install it directly into your application. Alright, so that is how to do that. I've already installed mine, we've already added it. The next thing to do right now is to add a button that we use to open Excel, and that is what we are going to place our code on. Alright, so come to this environment, click on Toolbox, and then we have Common Toolbox. You can see a button right there. Click on it or you drag it, just map it right there. This button, I want it to open Excel. Alright, you can modify that right here. This might be an icon that you have created, you can add an icon to it, okay? And notice this, you can double click it and it will open right in our main windows.sami.cs. all right, we have something like this. You can rename this into a better name if you want, and then you can come to Sami also. You can rename that from the Sami. You see, click event name that you want to call it. So we can say that will be Excel click. All right, so we have to go back here and then change that as well. Okay, so if you've done that, that's cool. The next thing to do right here is to call the Excel application. So you can type this Excel application, then we declare that as an object reference equal new application, then we terminate that. So if you have this, try to modify that to Excel application. Don't bother about the red line, we'll troubleshoot that once. Then let's perform something so that once we click the button, Excel should open and display, right? So should be feasible. That is an option. Okay, it can be false or true. Okay, this two line of code will for Excel application, and if you bring it up, it will open Excel application whenever that button is being clicked. All right. Now the next thing to do, we are going to use that library that we had to it. The first thing here is to add Microsoft Office Interop. You terminate that, and you need to use the Excel itself. Equal Microsoft the Office the Interop the Excel. Okay, so to make this work effectively, you can bring this from Microsoft. You can copy that, and let's use that as well right in the same package. Okay, two of them are together in the package, but doing it this way is more preferable. You need to put new keywords before the Excel right here, so that will be the next thing to do, and everything should be fine. All right, so if you have this code, that's cool. Save it. Don't forget, I removed the calling of the library of Microsoft Office Interop.excel alone. So this will be cool, and then everything should be fine. Save your work and let's build that. So simply mean that this is cool, and if you have that, run it without the bug for this period, and let's see what's going to happen. And then we can see this is the button, and then with this button we can click on it and see what is going to happen. All right, so if you've done that, you should be able to open your Excel. This is about the first exercise. We have created an app. We have integrate and implement interoperability programming right in this application, and we can click a button and open an Excel. Okay, So the next exercise, we are going to create Excel add-in, put data in our Excel, and transfer data into Microsoft Office Word. So right in the same environment where we are going to add that as a new object so that we can use the same button to perform that function. Okay, to do the exercise 2, we need to add a new project into this. If you want to create it as a new project, you need to come here and click new and then click on project. But for the purpose of this, so that we can reuse this application we created, come to this solution explorer and then click on your solution name, right click on it and scroll down to click add. So add will point you to a new project. So we had a new project into this project. So the project that we had will be Office Excel add-in. So you can type Excel. So once you type Excel, you will see many options. Ensure that you choose C# and it's a Microsoft Office right here. All right, you can observe that we have Excel Web add-in and then Excel VSTO add-in, and we have Excel VSTO template. So ignore the remaining one, you can use that or later we'll discuss about that. So let's click on Excel VSTO add-in and click next. So what name should we call this? Let's call it account book. Okay, so in the framework you need to choose the latest framework right here and then click create. Once you've done that, that's cool. You can see those libraries were populated by default. The only thing that is not here is Microsoft Word because we had Excel add-in. Okay, so later we will add that and you see how they work together. Observe that we have account book as our program and then we have this add-in. Then we have this add-in startup and this add-in shutdown. Okay, so notice this. So if you have this, that's cool. This add-in already had for us Excel. We don't need to add reference in add-in VSTO again. Okay, so try to understand that. But if not, if you have Excel add-in, notice these 3 references that you need to import. You need to import this using Excel Microsoft Office.interop.excel and then Office Microsoft Office Core and using Microsoft.office.tools Excel. So you can bring all this one together. All right. Now let's add Microsoft Office Word reference. Okay. Let's click on the reference and then add reference. So type word right here and let's click on Microsoft Word 16.0 Object Library and you click OK. Once you've done that, you see Microsoft Office Interop.word is right there. All right, we can add that one as in Excel. Okay, you can copy that and then paste that and change this to Word and change this to Word. So that's Microsoft Office Word, and we are going to save that. Having saved that, that is cool, and let's move on to the next thing. The next is to click on our new project, okay, and then add a class that will hold the data for us. All right, so you right click on it and you click add and you click new item. So ensure that you click on C# items and then you click on class and then call the name of the class account. So something that we need in Excel so that we can have like creating list of bank accounts or something. Okay. So let's click add. So having created that, so we have this in account book, the internal class account is right there. Okay, the next thing to do right here is to create a model. So this model will help us to be able to utilize the data that we want to pass into the Excel. It's public int. Then let's just create for 2 column, and then so it gets set, and we do the same. Then we modify for this to store money. We can use double, and then what do we need to save there? It should be balance. So this enough for now, and then if you can do this, that will be cool. All right, so save the work and let's move forward a little bit. All right, we have account CS, we have this add in CS, and we have our main window CS. So don't forget, I will navigate back to this add in CS. So right here, we are going to input things that we want right now. We have set a model for our data, and then the next thing to do is to create those data and then put them into where they should and what they should be. We'll create a bank account that contains 2 accounts and that have our data inside of them. So that's what we're going to do right now. And observe that I put this in this add in startup. All right. So var our bank account new is going to be a new list. That's a list of account. All right. Okay. All right. So that you not forget, terminate that, and then let's continue. The first new account should be what? So all right, the ID should be what? So you can specify what the ID should be. So let's say the ID equal 101, then comma, then balance should be what? Balance should be 78927, thereabout. Okay, another new account will come up, and then ensure that you put comma so that you not forget. So you can copy this information, paste it inside, and you can modify that the ID should be 123, and then this should be maybe 163 or something. So just ensure that you put minus there so that we can tweak something and see how it really works. Okay, so we do not need to replace those definition accounts, and then having done this simply means that we create this bank account list that contain 2 accounts and have the codes right there so that it's use collection initializer, and we'll be able to use that to pass information into Excel. All right, the next thing to do is to export this data that we have put in this place into the Excel. And how to do this, we have to create a method to display our Excel workbook. You can comment this, and then this is the second thing that you do right here. Export data to Excel. And then, okay, let me try to put this code right here. Okay, now I call the accounts. All right, the method set up an Excel workbook and export data into it. That's just what it does. We call the method name display in Excel, and we use IEnumerable to call the account list. All right. So, and then we use Excel range to display functions. All right. And we can see something right here, which is these applications is going to add a new Excel workbook. And then the Excel workbook is right here, which is going to be visible. And it's going to add range into it, which is going to be range A1, B1, and the selection is going to be on A2. And what is going to be on A1 is going to be ID, and on B1 is going to be balance, and the selection pointer or selection is going to be on A2. And when we open it, you will see what's going to happen. And the next thing is that for each of the accounts inside our accounts is going to display in the active cells right in the workbook. So Excel app will be active and set them as it is right here. So this application will copy the range and then put them in the clipboard as it is right there. All right. So we can see that something is missing right there. All right. We simply need to put them where they belong. All right. Just needs to close a curly brace right there. You can examine that this curly brace is not closed, and that's why that happened. All right. So to do that, simply needs to close the curly brace, right, and then save your work. All right. That is the first step. The next thing to do, we need to go back up and then we call this display function so that it can run. And where should we call that one? It will be under our data that we already put in right there. So we need to come up here right immediately of that bank account, and then we put this code. So we are referring to what we already created earlier. It's going to be bank account, not bank. All right, so try to understand this. I call the display in Excel to utilize bank accounts that we created right here. Those information, the account and the cells that we specify is going to utilize the cell value for account ID and then set the value for each of the accounts, both for account ID and account balance. So will be beside one another, and if statement was used here right here to clarify some things and then to add more features. And then you can see account.balance, whenever it's less than 0, it should change color, right? So that is cool things that you can do, and then how you can add more features into your Excel. All right. Let's say that this is 3 to display in Excel method. All right. So the next thing to do is to add Excel range. All right. So you can add range to your Excel. You can beautify the Excel. So you have to come to this environment. Okay. So that is where it's being utilized. So what we do right here is to, for example, if you are using Visual C# 2010, so you can utilize something like this, okay, and then simply use something like this to auto fit. All right. So this will override this in the new program that we're running right here. All right. You can comment that out and then use only this to set the range of the column, and this is what you need to do. For the purpose of this tutorial, just ensure that you can set the column and width using AutoFit for that. Alright, so you can have a large data or a large content you want to input into a cell. So AutoFit will be a good choice for you sometimes. Alright. We can run this to test it, but I want us to add Microsoft Word into that so that we can run the application together. Okay, we are going to add Microsoft Office Word immediately after play, let me say for display in Excel method. Alright, so to add a Word document to print or choose as an Excel information. Alright, so that's what we need to do. We create a method for a Word document that contains a link to the Excel workbook. From the Microsoft Office Word, we can open Excel. Alright, and then in your own case, you might want to put in data. You might want to put in some other things or some information. Okay, what we do here is we declare a Word app. A new application is going to open, which is going to be true. And then we add information into that whenever it's open. And then we paste those information in the clipboard as a paste special, which is a method. We call that to paste it as a link. Alright, link to Excel workbook, and then but it's going to display as an icon. In your own case, you might want to use it as a table, or you format it to be a table or a specific range that you want. Okay, so let's save the work and go through it again and see from the top. Alright. At this point, you can build the application again. Here we go. That's cool. You can start without a bug. And then this is the same application that we have before, and then we can click on it and see what is going to happen. Okay, here we go, and this Microsoft Word, and then we can see that this is icon. Okay, and then we have our Excel right here. We can see the A1, B1 have ID and balance, and then they have data under them, and then the selection is right here. Okay, you can see that this is less than 0, and then it display, and this is what we have in this cell. Okay, let's check the Word, this Microsoft Word, and then if you double click on it, it's open the Excel for you, and that is the purpose of that. But in some cases, you might want to write information into Excel and generate receipt into Microsoft Word. So different things can happen. You can format them right inside your application. Different people can enter information into workbook, creating different worksheets. Alright, try to understand this logic and how to implement it in your own applications. And then at the end of this tutorial, you'll see some other links that you can utilize to buttress all these points and then to write a better code for your .NET Interoperability. Thank you, and let's move forward. Now, at this point, let me show you more resources that can be helpful. Let's check your knowledge. Are you able to create an application that uses Interop? Are you able to programmatically open Microsoft Office? Are you able to programmatically input data into Excel or other Microsoft Office using Interop feature? So now you should be able to do all these following this tutorial one after the other. If you are unable or you missed something, you can pause the video or you can read through the journal or the link provided at the end of this tutorial. In this tutorial, you learn about .NET Interoperability. You are introduced to .NET Interoperability programming. You also learn about common problems developers are facing, and you explored how you can create an application, integrate and implement interoperability in that applications. Then you run and test that application. And you should now be able to understand .NET Interoperability with the overview and programming interoperability in .NET concepts that I gave. And through those challenges and problems we explore, and now you know where to log your questions and other future problems. In the solution that we walk through, you are able to create an application, integrate and implement interoperability using Excel add-in and Microsoft Office Word. So you can run and test the application And if you are able to do all these, that's cool. And if you are unable to do that, or you have any question, do not forget you can chat through this medium, or you contact me through any of those social media handles. For more information on how you can walk through and implement the same with other languages like Python, C++, Java, check out my next video. You can subscribe and click notification button so that you get alert whenever I release any other video or any other similar tutorial. To get more information, subscribe to this channel and follow me on other social media. These are basic resources I use in this tutorial. So you can see the GitHub link right here on the top. And also you can say Microsoft Learn, that is docs.microsoft.com/learn. You can go to that place and then read more about .NET Interoperability. You can also download the sample codes for this tutorial on GitHub, and you see that link right there. You can use .NET blog to read more about .NET problems and challenges that developers are facing. And if you would like to download .NET 7.0 release candidate, it's already available right on the next link right there. And for the walkthrough about Office programming, you can use the next link to be able to see walkthrough about Office programming, and then more about .NET 7 release candidate 1. You can utilize .NET blog on Microsoft.com to get more information and to download your own copy. Okay, and if you are keen to know more about how to install Office Primary Interop assemblies for Visual Studio, this link will be good for you as well. And finally, to ask a question, use Microsoft Q&A, and your answer will be directly from Microsoft Internal or Microsoft Expert that are using this platform. So at this point, thank you for watching and see you next time.